round number 1. It was certainly going to be a mark of things to come, and Vandenberg, like all the rest of the field, set off towards South Australia in a cold, wet and miserable day, ready to do battle for round 2 at Malala in South Australia. Your commentator over there, John Smales.
And Vandenberg starts poorly, handing the lead to local rider Darryl Willoughby from American Jimmy Ellis, Kawasaki's Trevor Williams, Team Honda's Jeff Leisk, and reigning Mr. Motocross Stephen Gall. Riders have been using shovels on the starting line to clear a clean space for their rear wheels, but in these conditions, there's no clean line. That's Stephen Gall on bike 1, the 490cc Works Yamaha. He's 4 times winner of the Mr. Motocross title and currently lying second in the points table on 47 points behind Goof Vandenberg Suzuki on 57. At Malala in South Australia have been rated as amongst the most exciting ever held in Australian motocross racing. Stephen Gall slams to the lead in the 3rd round and is never headed to the checkered flag. For Jeff Leisk, drama in the 3rd round of the motocross. After the 2nd round, his mechanics discovered that his bike had cracked its frame, and rather than risking setting him out on a damaged machine, they made him move on to his spare machine. Regrettably, that's against the rules of the Castrol Mr. Motocross, and Leisk, although he rode in the final 2 rounds, was disqualified. Peter Carney moved into 2nd position behind Gall, with Marty Moates and David Armstrong disputing 3rd place from Vandenberg and Trevor Williams. Was the winner of the Kid Motocross, which supports the Castrol Motocross, in 1979, and then in 1981 became the Australian 125cc champion. 10 is Big Marty Moates, the American. And that's the sort of conditions that the riders were actually expected to compete in. The checkered flag now comes out for Marty Moates, winner of the 4th heat of the Castrol Mr. Motocross round 2. And look how close behind Gall is. There he is.
After a miserable 1st round, it was American Marty Moates who was the winner of round 2 at Malala in South Australia. Moates, in fact, tied on points with Stephen Gall, both sharing 41 points. But fortunately for Moates, he was the winner of the final heat, which gave him the win on the day. So it was out of the mud and the gloom and the doom from South Australia, northbound to Queensland for round 3 of the series at Tivoli Raceway, just outside Brisbane. Once again, up in Brisbane, it was a very tough and torrid event. And for this particular round, all of the factories pulled out the stops because they flew in special machinery for Jeff Leisk and the Team Honda outfit, Ray Vandenberg, a very special Suzuki, and Stephen Gall fitted a brand new OW58 Works engine to the YZ490 Yamaha for today.
Up into 3rd place, Trevor Williams in 4th place, and it looks like Trevor Brooks up into 5th. On the right-hander, the loop towards this series of jumps on the approach to the main straight. It's 20 minutes plus 1 lap, so it's a real test of skill, not only physical skills but mechanical preparation as well from the cruise part. End of lap 1, the leader, number 1, Stephen Gall. $20,000 worth of prize money at stake, and the biggest motocross event held in Australia, and Jimmy Ellis wants to win it. So Ellis comes back once again as they sweep around the right-hander at the top part of the course, now making their run down towards the middle, and he goes through on the inside. Will he get him? Gall comes back once again in elbow-to-elbow motocross out of the gully. Gall desperately trying to keep the rear wheel on the ground for the Yamaha and keep it tracking as straight as he can, and Ellis is getting a very smooth ride on the KTM. By gee, they've set it up very nicely in the handling department. Gall crouching over the front of the bike, working it every which way to try and get ahead of Jimmy Ellis on bike number 8. Blue flag comes out. 1 lap to go. The 20 minutes has elapsed, and it's now 1 lap before we decide whether or not Jimmy Ellis or Stephen Gall will be the winners of heat number 1. Jimmy Ellis now pulling out all the stops on the big KTM. An Austrian bike comes from Europe, and he stalled the KTM. Ellis has lost all chance of winning the event when he stalled through that right-hander, and Stephen Gall will take the first heat. Marty Moates goes through in 3rd position, and what a bad break for Jim Ellis. Very valuable points in the first heat of Castrol's Mr. Motocross. on the last jump for the last time, and the checkered flag comes out, and it's a great win to number 1 Stephen Gall, to the right-hander. Just a couple of 100 metres left to go now as Jim Ellis prepares to gun the big KTM towards the checkered flag over the series of jumps, and this will be a magnificent win, and it will reverse the order of the first heat. And coming up now towards the checkered flag, and what a fine win to number 8 Jim Ellis. Brilliant Yamaha. Up into second place comes number 3 Jeff Leisk with the chain back on the Honda and working as it should. Third place number 1 Stephen Gall on the Toshiba Yamaha dealer team Yamaha. And a big pile-up of all the leading contenders as they go around that left-hander. Trevor Williams coming off second best there. Leisk's bike steps sideways on that occasion as he comes down the side of the dam. Lining up under brakes, and Darryl Willoughby closes a couple of lengths and goes for an inside run, but he won't be able to get through there. He's not quite close enough. Along the back. A third of a lap to go now. Stephen Gall seemingly without chance to improve his position, but Darryl Willoughby pulling out the stops to try and improve his on the final right-hander. 180 degrees in the run towards the main straight. The checkered flag now being prepared. Will there be a change in proceedings? Willoughby giving it everything he's got, but as they come up towards the checkered flag, it'll be a win in heat number 3 to number 3 Jeff Leisk, number 2 Darryl Willoughby.
For the 4-time Mr Motocross champion and current Australian 250cc champion Stephen Gall, it was a refreshing win for round 3 at Tivoli in Queensland. But it wasn't before a hard charge from Jeff Leisk in heats 3 and 4. In fact, both Jeffrey Leisk and Jimmy Ellis really found some form at Queensland, and it was to put them in very good stead as they went to the northern centre of New South Wales for round 4 and to Raymond Terrace.
Number 1 and bike number 10 it is in the lead. Marty Moates on the Suzuki through the right-hander, and it's Jimmy Ellis up into second place. So it comes flashing up the main straight, and look at the bike creeping sideways with the torque of the big Honda starting to whistle it down that main straight. So the order at the end of lap number 3, number 10 Marty Moates, number 3 Jeff Leisk, and number 8 Jimmy Ellis, as once again Jeffrey Leisk goes through on the inside of Marty Moates. I don't think he's going to be able to get through that way, but he's done some pretty amazing things so far. Now he switches line through to the inside. Will he get through? The answer is no. Marty Moates shuts the door once again. Jeff goes for a square cut turn off the berm, comes whistling down the outside, and the crowd erupts, and Jeffrey Leisk, the new leader. Moates comes back once again on the inside, side by side motocross. What's going to happen? Moates regains. Here comes Leisk on the outside. Will he get him? On the off-camber turner, and Leisk goes into the lead. Great stuff from Jeffrey Leisk on bike number 3. Marty Moates back into second place, Jimmy Ellis in third, and some beautiful motocross racing from the youngster from Western Australia. Last heat of the Mr Motocross at Raymond Terrace for round number 4, and out comes the checkered flag, and it's a very easy win for Jeff Leisk. This time the gate gets down cleanly, and they come out very, very quickly, and Jeff Leisk on bike number 3 establishes a lead into turn number 1. Round the right-hander, and through on the inside goes Marty Moates with plenty of power on board. Underneath Jeffrey Leisk, and bike number 10 leads the field as they head off towards the Yamaha loop. Marty Moates there as well in the lime green Kawasaki colours. There's number 2, Darryl Willoughby. Number 9, Ray Vandenberg, a long way back in the field. That won't help his point score any. Under brakes, and we've lost Moates. Moates is down on the entrance to the main straight, so Stephen Gall leads at the end of lap number 1. Number 3, Jeff Leisk in second place. Number 6, Trevor Williams in third. Doesn't bother about being very spectacular as he crosses the double jump now for the last time. In and out of the tyres and up towards the top of the course now. About 300 yards left to run for Jeff Leisk on bike number 3. And the 18-year-old rider, originally from Fremantle, then Perth, now resident in Melbourne, is going to take out the 4th round of the Mr Motocross series of 1982, 83, should I say. We'll get the years right. And as he puts power to the ground for the last time, the checkered flag comes out, and Jeff Leisk the winner.
What a great performance it was from Jeff Leisk on the Works Honda to elevate himself in the point standings up to 5th place in preparation for the grand final in Victoria. Bad luck for Ray Vandenberg, who was disqualified after passing under the yellow flag, but he too was to come back with a vengeance for the grand final down in Victoria. So let's take a look at that action now. There's 5 riders, all with the opportunity of winning the Mr Motocross in 1983, and you're about to witness some of the most spectacular motocross footage that you'll ever see. And this is the scene at the grand final of Castrol's Mr Motocross for 1983. The venue, Broadford, and the riders on the starting line now for Heat 1, 30 riders in total, and they're starting to look up towards the starting clock where the needle is pointed at the moment at the 30-second mark. Just a few seconds remaining before they get underway, and this is going to be a very, very exciting race. That's our shot from up the top of the straight A beautiful setting here at Broadford. It really is one of Australia's leading motocross circuits, if not one of the best circuits in the world. And at the moment, we're waiting to see who is going to be Mr. Motocross for 1983. Stephen Gall leads the series with a total of 163 points on bike number 1. Ray Vandenberg is in second place with 140 points. Visiting American rider Marty Moates has 124 points. Jeff Leisk, young West Australian rider, winner of round 4, has 120 points. Equal 5th place, American Jim Ellis with Australian Vaughan style with 95 points. Kawasaki rider Trevor Williams has a total of 90. Then we've got Darryl Willoughby, Victorian Robin Rhodes, Peter Carney, Anthony Gunter, and so on down the line in the top 20 or so riders who've worked their way around the series. Round 1, of course, was here at Broadford. The winner on that occasion, the young rider from Victoria, 19 years of age, Ray Vandenberg, who's riding bike number 9, the Work Suzuki this weekend. Round 2, Malala in South Australia, the winner was Moates. Round 3 at Tivoli in Queensland, Mr. Motocross struck back and was a winner up there. Round 4 at Raymond Terrace, Jeff Leisk started to run on really hot on the brand new Honda with 5 wins out of 6 starts. And as they come to this weekend's grand final, we're going to be looking at a very, very interesting motocross race, because there are 6 people who can win the series. And let's not forget the round money as well, because they're also out there fighting for a win in the grand final round. The starting clock is underway. There's 10 seconds left to go before the start. 5 seconds to go before the start of the first heat of the grand final of the Mr. Motocross, and it looks as though they broke the gate. No, a clean start, and coming out very quickly was Victorian Trevor Williams on bike number 6, and the Kawasaki rider storms to the top of the circuit around the left-hander at Castrol. Kawasaki ridden by Trevor Williams in the lead. On the outside, Stephen Gall on bike number 1, Ellis in the middle on bike number 8, and what a magnificent start. Williams on bike number number 6, Gall on bike number 1, Leisk goes up into 3rd place on bike 3, and Jim Ellis in 4th place, down towards the middle of the circuit. And what a great start. Everybody gets away pretty cleanly. Nobody's bitten the dust. And it's Williams, Gall, Ellis, Leisk, Ray Vandenberg a fair way back in the field at this stage. Down to the bottom. And it's Williams in the lead. Victorian rider from Bairnsdale, just a couple of lengths ahead of Stephen Gall on the YZ490 Yamaha. Jim Ellis up into 3rd place on the Honda drop away through the right-hander. This is the first approach run to the top of the Swan Insurance Hill. 6 is Williams, 1 is Gall, 8 is Ellis, then Leisk, Rhodes, number 4 is Vaughan style. There's Darryl Willoughby on bike number 2 from South Australia. And it's on for young and old at the head of the field, because Ellis and Gall have been handlebar to handlebar over the back part of the course when we were looking down through the field. And these 2 riders set to do battle in this first heat. 20 minutes plus 1 lap the journey. So an awfully long way to go along the Yamaha back straight. Gall over the front of the bike. Trevor Williams has done this on a couple of occasions during the year, come out of the gate very quickly, gone on to lead for about the first 10 minutes or so, but physical fitness perhaps has been his question mark, and other riders have been able to round him up. What's going to happen today? Up now towards the start-finish line area, end of lap number 1. Kawasaki fans ecstatic because Trevor Williams leads the field. Bike number 1 in 2nd place is Stephen Gall. So the reigning Mr. Motocross champion doing very well at this stage. Bear in mind that Gall doesn't have to win every heat. He only has to circulate to get points. He has 163, which is 23 clear of his nearest rival, Ray Vandenberg, in 2nd. Trevor Williams on bike number 6. Look at the suspension of the Kawasaki working. Disc brake on the front, about 12 3/4 inches front travel, about 12 1/2 in the back. One of the fittest riders in the event, Stephen Gall, chasing him. And have a look at Stephen Gall on that occasion. Absolutely attacked the Army Reserve triple jumps. Left off the first one and didn't touch the ground for about 50 feet, and that was brilliant stuff. He's determined. At round 4, I thought that Stephen perhaps was lacking a little bit of confidence, but he's certainly got it all back this weekend. And Stephen Gall is flying. And look at Jeffrey Leisk in 4th place, now breathing right on the heels of Jim Ellis. In fact, Leisk now goes for a spot for 3rd. Ellis has a look over his shoulder on the Honda drop away. Leisk getting plenty of air under the bike. Ellis decides to stay low. Rooster tail of dirt in the back of the Honda as they climb up towards the first of the Swan Insurance loops. So the order at the moment, Kawasaki, Yamaha, KTM and Honda. And this has been indicative of the Mr. Motocross right throughout of the year. Lots of different riders, plenty of different machines, and huge crowds everywhere we've gone. Up to the final
left-hander. Then they make their run down the straight. You can see Leisk on that occasion pulling the tear off from the front of his goggles. The riders have a tear-off system on the front of their goggles which can contain up to 10, sometimes 20 tear-offs. And as they get caked with dirt and mud, they pull them away, which frees their vision once again. And look at Gall, right behind Trevor Williams as they come through the stutters. Williams opts for an outside line. Gall goes a little bit further towards the inside. They bounce off the newly formed berm on the outside part of the course where the pit crews are. And they come up now to end the fourth lap. And there are, let me see, there is 7 1/4 minutes down out of the event. And there's Jimmy Ellis's machine, bike number 8. Ron Parker right behind it there in the red and blue jacket from Maryborough in Victoria. Jim Ellis nowhere to be seen. He's absolutely disgusted with whatever trouble they've got and has stormed back into the pit area. It looks as though the back end is seized up on it now. Whether or not it's a chain problem or whether in fact it's gearbox or engine remains to be seen. But Jim Ellis without question out of the event, and that blows his chances of a win in the Mr. Motocross of 1983. So there's the gap between first and second, Williams to Gall. We might just have a look here at the gap back to third and fourth. Vandenberg has moved up into third. Now I wonder what has happened to Jeff Leisk. Vandenberg in third, a country mile back to the next rider, and that's Jeff Leisk. Now I wonder what's happened, whether or not he got tangled up with Jim Ellis as they came up onto the main straight, one wonders. But Leisk in fourth position on bike number 3, now giving away a lot of territory to these riders here, headed by Trevor Williams. The 1982 Unlimited Victorian Motocross champion still leads the event. Very clever line on that part of the course down there. He's hitting the first couple of stutters, getting the Kawasaki airborne, and then completely clearing the rest of them. This is the run up onto the main straight. And the end of lap number 7 with 12.5 minutes down out of 20 minutes plus 1 lap. Now there's a great scrap on for second place because Vandenberg is now challenging Gall. We'll just see them here in the background, and Vandenberg's through. The young Victorian has got through on reigning Mr. Motocross. So Vandenberg, after having been back as far as around about 8th place at the end of the first lap, has worked his way through to second place and is putting on a lot of pressure. He'll be getting the signals from his crew down there. He, in fact, is being backed by Trevor Flood, a winner of the Mr. Motocross in years gone by, and he's going to have to rationalise his thoughts, calm himself down, get back into the groove that he was in the opening part of the race. As I mentioned, he worked his way up from 8th place at the end of lap 1. There's now 15 minutes down out of this 20-minute journey. Ray Vandenberg has an opportunity here to overhaul Trevor Williams if he can do it properly. Coming up now to catch Mark Harris. In fact, it's Trevor Brooks on 21, I think, on the Yamaha. And look at the territory that they're covering as they fly up to the top of the hill. Here comes Vandenberg down the outside. Will he do it here? Under brakes. Front end of the Suzuki, just dancing a little bit more than the Kawasaki, but Ray definitely riding harder. He's right behind him at the moment as they come up towards the left-hand run. Now let's see what happens as they go through the stutters. Williams is very quick through here, but so too is Vandenberg, almost over the front of the bike, and that was very close, up onto the main straight. And what a great charge this is, coming up now to the 16-minute mark of Heat 1, and at the end of this lap, it's still Williams from Vandenberg, but only just. Look at the horsepower of the Suzuki. He gets him. Great stuff. And the Victorian crowd absolutely ecstatic with the young hometown hero. The man who won the first round here, who absolutely shocked everybody because Ray was showing up for his second year of Mr. Motocross after progressing through juniors and C grade and B grade and so on. And although we realised that he had a lot of talent, I don't think anybody quite thought that he would have been an outright contender. Vandenberg shocked them all. Came out and won Heat 1, but Williams attacks once again on the outside. Ray Vandenberg, the man with the most to gain, because he was only 23 points behind Stephen Gall as they came to this final round, and he would desperately love to win Mr. Motocross after only 2 years of competition. On the Honda drop away. Trevor Williams is going to argue with him, though. He doesn't want to see it happen. Williams, 5 years his senior. Where has Gall gone? He's dropped back quite considerably now. There he goes. So Stephen Gall content now to pick up points for third placing.
third placing will earn him 20 points because of this grand final. There's double points in operation. Normally the riders receive 15 for first, 12 for second, 10 for third, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. But for this grand final, the organisers have decided to double the points, which doubles the risks for everybody. And with problems, say, for example, with Jim Ellis, who has dropped out of this first heat, he now gives away an uncatchable deficit to the other riders. So the pressure really on. Back. And Trevor Williams now starting to struggle to keep in touch. There's Vandenberg. 65, 70 miles an hour as they come up that part of the course. Glances over his shoulder. Fourth place is still being held by Jeff Leisk. There's number 5, David Armstrong from Queensland. Armstrong out of the running. Down the back straight at the 22-minute mark of Heat 1. Checkered flag being prepared, and Ray Vandenberg looks like he's going to take it out. In fact, he does. The checkered flag comes out. 30 points to Ray Vandenberg at the end of Heat 1 of the Mr. Motocross. Second placing goes to number 6, Trevor Williams, and third placing will go to number 1, Stephen Gall. The riders on the starting line now for the first heat of the grand final of the Castrol Kid Motocross of 1983. All of these riders between 14 and 16 years of age and limited to a machine capacity of 125cc. And these young riders have been following the Mr. Motocross series right throughout the course of the year, kicking off here at round 1 at Broadford, round 2 Malala in South Australia, round 3 up in Queensland at Tivoli, round 4 at Raymond Terrace in New South Wales, and here today for the grand final. The leader in the point score at the moment, young Robert Scott for the Honda in the field, gets away from the starting line and up towards Castrol for the first time in this 6-lap journey around the Reg Hunt Park Broadford course. All of these riders, bear in mind, are between 14 and a couple of the riders have come down, and it's a pretty heavy looking scene up there at the moment. Yellow flag has come out, and let's see who gets through unscathed. It doesn't look as though any of the leading contenders got caught up in that, but the leader at the moment, number 11, and it's Phil Sargent from the Toshiba Yamaha dealer team on the YZ125, in through the left-hander, down towards Castrol TT. Number 11, Phil Sargent, very tiny young rider, but with a lot of pace. There's third place, number 26, Troy Doolan. Out of the bottom of the gully, through the right-hander and up towards the top. They make now a left-hand approach run towards Honda Dropaway, which is a fearful jump in towards the left-hander. Top of the hill, and it's number 162 who has the lead at the moment, Robert Hooper on the KX125 Kawasaki. Hooper in fact lying second in the series at the moment with a total of 69 points to his credit. Leader at this point, as I mentioned, Robert Scott with 79 from Bennett Honda in New South Wales. Robert Hooper in second place with 69 points. And in third place overall in the series, Stephen Breeze from Victoria with a total of 58 points to his credit. So Hooper, the man at the moment, who's in line for 30 points, because this weekend at Broadford, the points table has been doubled. Normally, for first place, there's 15 points. For second, 12. For third, 10, and so on down to 10th place. But this weekend, being the grand final here at Reg Hunt Park in Broadford, the points have been doubled. So it'll be 30 points for first, 24 points for second, 20 points for third, and so on down the line. Great scrap on for the lead now as they come up to end lap number 1 in their 6-lap journey. And the leader at the moment, Hooper, challenging on the outside. Number 17 is Robert Scott, and up into third place, 26, Troy Doolan on the Suzuki. So we've got Honda, Kawasaki, and Suzuki in the top 3 placings up to the top of the circuit. in through the left hand, on towards these triple jumps. The Army Reserve triples requires perfect balance and perfect timing from the riders to be able to poise the bike right in between the second and third jumps. And it's Hooper, the man who leads the series on bike number 17 on the 125 Honda, who has the lead at the moment. 10 points clear as they came to this final round. Robert Scott with 79 points. Robert Hooper, in fact, who's in second place at the moment, is the rider who finished second here at the opening round of the Castrol Kid Motocross of 1983. And Robert Scott scored his first win in the series at round 2 in Malala. Had a pretty miserable weekend here at the first round. Phil Robinson at the present time in 4th position overall with 45 points to his credit, and a rider who is going to have a fair amount of difficulty trying to get up there and take an overall win, but he's certainly in line for a placing at the end of the series. So Robinson, bike number 49, the water-cooled YZ125 Yamaha, protege of Stephen Gall, the Chiba Yamaha dealer team. Into the right-hander, and they climb up towards the top of the hill now for Swan Insurance. This is the highest point of the course. Around the left-hander, now on towards the double drop away. Robert Scott picking up some of the slower riders in the field now as he comes through these switchbacks and now on towards the Australian Motorcycle News stutter bumps. Brakes, poises himself, gets on the power. It's imperative that he keep the front of the wheel away from those whoop-de-doos or it'll snatch out of his hands. Past the pit crews. End of lap number 4 for Robert Scott. Out of 6 laps, up to the top of the course at the end of the main straight. So Robert Scott now in line for 30 points for a win in Heat 1 of Castrol's Kid Motocross. As we mentioned, double points for the Kid Motocross in the grand final round. And Philip Robinson has come unstuck in a big way on bike number 49. Tried to throw the Yamaha at the triple jumps, and that was exactly what he did. He threw it straight at them, and that's allowed Robert Hooper to go back through into second place. Looks as though he's okay. There's our second place man on bike number 162. But Philip Robinson really threw the Yamaha away in a big way. And that takes the pressure right off Robert Scott on bike number 17. And there's third place. Quite a large gap back to number 26, Troy Doolan. So again, a good mixture of brands. We've got Honda, Kawasaki and Suzuki. And a similar gap back to 4th place, who will try and pick up as they come down towards the bottom of the course once again. Troy Doolan is back in 11th place in the series at the moment. He hasn't had a good series so far. But he'll be in line here for 20 points if he can finish in this 3rd position, and that'll elevate him in the point score. On the back straight, Troy Doolan, as we go back to our leader on bike number 17, and the blue flag has come out. There's 1 lap to go now. All he has to do is to continue to stay in front of Robert Hooper, even if he's down in the point score. So long as he stays ahead of Robert Hooper, he is going to bag the series. Winding down into the middle. This is our leader, number 17, Robert Scott on the CR125 Honda on his last lap now of the 6-lap journey for the Castrol Kid Motocross. Suspension working overtime on the Honda. The track starting to chop up a little bit. It was fairly smooth when they came out here this morning in their practice laps. It's now really turning into a genuine motocross course, and it is imperative, of course, that the riders be in absolute peak physical condition. As you can see, it's getting pretty rough and tough at the bottom of the course. Now he winds up towards the first of the loops for Swan Insurance. Pretty tall and a fairly strong sort of a rider, Robert Scott. Gets his weight over the front of the bike, keeps traction on the front wheel, spins the back around, 2nd gear, 3rd gear, back to 2nd as he goes up to the top of the hill. The front of the Honda wants to aviate. And down the back straight once again, over the double jump. So just half a lap remaining now for Robert Scott on machine number 17 before he'll take out Heat 1 of Castrol's Kid Motocross in this grand final round of the Castrol Kid Motocross of 1983. Negotiating the stutter bumps now for the last time. Check flag being prepared, and the Bennett Honda New South Wales rider Robert Scott is going to take out leg 1 in a fine sort of a ride, and he picks up the checkered flag for 30 points. 2nd place, a long way back, Robert Hooper on the Kawasaki number 162. He collects the checkered flag. checkered flag and picks up 24 points for his trouble. Heat 2 of the Castrol Mr. Motocross, with the riders on the starting line now and ready for their 20-minute plus 1 lap journey. The pits and parking area in the background. The riders and the crews have had some time to work on everything. There's now 5 seconds to go before they get underway in this second heat. Gate comes down fairly and squarely. It looked like Trevor Williams got all out of shape with a Kawasaki, and that left Jeffrey Leisk to come out of the gate brilliantly on bike number 3. Leisk in the lead. On the outside of him, it looked like Marty Moates. Quickly up on the inside was Stephen Gall. Round Castrol corner. Leisk on bike number 3. Marty Moates, the American rider, in second place on bike number 10 in the yellow and blue Suzuki. And up into third place now, Ray Vandenberg on bike number 9. Further back to Peter Carney on 12. Jim Ellis is behind him on bike number 8. So it's Leisk, Moates, Vandenberg, Carney, Ellis, Willoughby, Gall, Style, and number 20, I think, is Andrew Caldecott from South Australia. Indeed it is. Into the middle of the course, and it's Leisk who's really flying on the big Honda at the moment. Up to Castrol TT corner, round the left-hander. The 2 youngsters now lead the field on the Honda drop away. Leisk, Vandenberg and Moates. Marty Moates has been running motocross schools here at Broadford for the last 2 weeks, so he just should well and truly know his way around the course at the moment. There's just about a Marty Moates groove in the track. Down to the bottom. Straight. And it's Leisk, Vandenberg, Moates, gap back to 4th place. Jeffrey Leisk now coming through to end lap number 1 of heat 2. You can see him working away at the gear lever on the left-hand side of the bike down near his left foot peg. Grabs another gear up to the top of the main straight. Right behind him is the winner of the first leg, Ray Vandenberg. Marty Moates in 3rd, Peter Carney in 4th, Gall in 5th, Jim Ellis in 6th, Darryl Willoughby, Vaughan Style and Robert Twirewell. That's the order at the end of lap 1. Leisk pilots the Honda through, throws it into the air. Glorious stuff, just like we saw Stephen Gall do in the first heat. Vandenberg, a rooster tail of dirt from the back of the RM500 Suzuki. So once again, a magnificent spread of machinery. We've got Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, KTM, all in the top half dozen or so. Gall looking for a way through on the inside of Ellis, and I think he's found it. And Peter Carney, great stuff from the reigning Mr. Motocross champion. Round Castrol corner and on towards the Honda drop away. And have a look at the drop off here. Jeff Leisk, number 3. Ray Vandenberg not going to let him get too far away. Leisk finished 4th in the first heat, and it looked to me as though he might have had trouble with the bike, as he was a long way off the pace, but not so on this occasion. Onto the double drop away, and I tell you what, Vandenberg is absolutely flying. Hurls the Suzuki off the second of the ledges, gets it all crossed up, right in the rooster tail now of Jeff Leisk, and challenging for the lead. Right, now left. The jump perched in the most precarious of positions, halfway through the turn, through the stutter bumps, and up onto the main straight. And these guys are absolutely flying at the moment. 3.5 minutes down, and the end of lap number 2. The order still Leisk and Vandenberg. Moates in 3rd place. And look at Jeffrey Leisk, crouched over the front of the bike, staring at the road, absolutely determined to hold out Ray Vandenberg, but it looks to me as though Ray's got a few extra ponies on board, because the Suzuki capable of pulling him in at any given moment. Once again, a squirt on the power. Vandenberg gets a bit closer, overshoots the corner just a bit. Leisk winds on the power, and there's about 60-odd brake horsepower on his right hand, and he just winds the big Honda on. Now Vandenberg goes for a run-through on the inside, but it's pretty hard to do it just there, because the turn doesn't work out well for you as you come out of it. They switch from the far outside to the inside of the course up here and climb back up to the top. And this is a pretty worrying time for Jeff Leisk. There's nothing worse than seeing the front wheel of another guy's bike poking and prodding on the left and the right-hand side. Rooster tail of dirt from both of them, and Vandenberg giving him plenty to worry about. Left to right, left to right. That's all he's doing at the moment. Worries Jeff Leisk in every inch of the way. We're looking at the two current Australian motocross champions, Leisk, the Australian 500cc champion at the moment, and Vandenberg, the Australian 125 champion. In fact, next weekend is the Australian Championships for 1983, so these riders looking to move on here from Broadford and go for a great performance at the Australian titles coming up in South Australia. Leisk, followed by Vandenberg, then Moates. In fact, the two Americans in third and fourth, with Ellis in fourth position and Gall behind him. Up onto the main straight, end of lap number 3, and 5 minutes and 14 seconds down. Here comes Vandenberg once again. Superior power of the Suzuki by the look of it. This thing is absolutely flying. I don't know what they've done to it, but it's really motivated. Now on the inside, looking for a way through, but Leisk shuts the gate once again and says, "You're not going to do that this time, Ray Vandenberg." And the two youngest riders ever to be catapulted in A-grade motocross in Australia are now fighting it out for the most prestigious motocross event in this country. After the first round, or after the first heat of this grand final round, Gall leads with 183. Vandenberg has closed up and is in second position with 170. And in third place, this man here on bike number 3, Jeff Leisk, with 136. So already the field has been narrowed down. The likely contenders now for the crown at the end of these 4 races will be Stephen Gall, Ray Vandenberg and Jeff Leisk. Gall at the moment is going to have to pull the proverbial out for him to get back up into the leaders at the moment, because they're pulling right away. Vandenberg makes a mistake on that occasion. Front end of the bike just washes away a little bit. Again, just like in the first heat, he has to consolidate his thoughts now, get it all together, plan the strategy, and he certainly seems to have the speed on the Honda. And Vandenberg's down. He's dropped the Suzuki. He's still in second position. 200 pounds of motorcycle, it's still running, the back wheel spinning. He wrestles it out, and he's just ahead of Marty Moates. Great stuff from Vandenberg, but that means that Leisk is going to hang on to the lead in this one. Oh boy, pretty torrid motocross out there at the moment. The Mr. Motocross has never failed to be sensational. And Ellis is out again. Oh dear, I cannot believe that they've had trouble with the KTM once again. It's just not Jim Ellis's day. I was guessing as to what may have happened to him, because he disappeared out of shot, but that KTM is certainly providing a few headaches for the Burnt Blood KTM team at the moment. And Jeff Leisk on bike number 3 on the Works 500cc Honda continues to lead the field. Ray Vandenberg still in second place. Great scrap for third and fourth between Moates and Gall. And look at Jeff Leisk. Brilliant stuff from the youngster. Yellow flags come out there, so somebody has come unstuck in a pretty big way. And that's Andrew Carruthers, Suzuki rider from Victoria, who's come undone. St John's people in attendance very quickly. The Castrol officials with the yellow flag out, which indicates to the other riders that there's danger on the course and that they should not overtake another rider whilst the yellow flag is being displayed. Back to the leader, however. He's having no trouble as he comes around the left-hander at Castrol. The big drop away at Honda. Eases the power into the Honda as he climbs back up to the first of the Swan Insurance loops at the top of the course. Disc brake on the front of the pre-production Works Honda. Some parts on this bike will be similar to the machine, or the machines that we'll be seeing for season 84 on the Honda showroom floors. Other parts developed by Honda's Race and Development Division in America and Japan. This machine managed by Clyde Wolfenden, who also manages the Honda road racing outfit. You may have got a couple of glimpses of Clyde back at our Easter Grand Prix coverage at Bathurst earlier in the year on 028. And not only does he lend his hand to the motocross guys, but also to the road racing fellas, and they're doing a great job at the moment of managing this man here, Jeff Leisk, into the lead and holding his lead over the rest of the field as they come up now to end lap number 10. 17.5 minutes down, and Jeff Leisk set to take 30 points in Heat 2.
The line to Mr. Suzuki up from the charge, up from the front straight.
Such a volatile series, the Mr. Motocross. The patterns that emerged in the first heat can be nothing like what they were in the second heat and the third heat and so on. And it looks like there's a fair bit of action back in third and fourth at the moment, because although Leisk and Vandenberg have drawn away from the field, Moates and Gall are locked in battle for third and fourth. There they are, bike number 10 and bike 1. So Moates on 10, Gall on 1. Gall third in the first leg, currently in fourth place. Marty Moates finished in 7th, so it's been some sort of improvement for him. Down to the bottom of the course, and Gall tries to probe through on the inside with the Yamaha. Didn't work. Good news is for Andrew Carruthers fans that he's up on his feet walking back towards the pit area. Oh, and Jeff Leisk has come undone. And what has happened to the Honda pilot? He's disgusted, shaking his head. You can see the tear-offs on the front of his goggles there. The loop of celluloid off the left-hand side of his goggles, which he pulls away when they're all filthy and dirty. The bike seems to be running okay. He now pulls those goggles away from the side of his face, which in actual fact stops them from fogging up. That's what he's doing at the moment. They would have fogged up when he pulled off to the side of the track. So, Ray Vandenberg back in the lead on bike number 9. In 2nd place, Marty Moates on 10. This man here in 3rd place on bike 1, Stephen Gall. Didn't see what happened to Jeff Leisk. All we saw was that he was on the deck and grovelling to grab the Honda, which he's done. He's still circulating, but he'll be right out of the top 10 now, and Broadford just doesn't seem to be Jeff Leisk's circuit. Gall once again has a go on the inside of Marty Moates as they come up the main straight. Suzuki handling a little bit better, or it seemed to be handling a little bit better on that occasion. Rear wheel sticking to the ground. A lot of it depends on the run you get off to the main straight, and it also depends on where you position your body as well. It's not just a case of suspension tuning. Oh, and Moates in trouble, and I think he's nailed our cameraman. He has in fact taken out one of our cameramen down there, so Moates on bike number 10 in terrible trouble.
Moates is going again.
Flag out, and just slightly less now than 1 lap to go for Ray Vandenberg on bike number 9. And the youngster from Victoria looks as though he's going to repeat his first round performance. He's heading for a victory now in this 2nd heat, and that'll be a double for him and a total of 60 extra points. Stephen Gall at this point is in 2nd position, so the points battle between these riders is going to be fascinating. Front of the bike tracks to the ground, whilst the rear really dances for Ray Vandenberg as he plunges down to the middle of the track. Half a lap to go now. On the drop away. Guides the big Suzuki very carefully over there. The ambulance flag is on the course at the moment. Indeed, the ambulance is on the course. The master at work, Ray Vandenberg. Doing it very easily now, standing up, taking it cool under braking. He's got the signals from Trevor Flood, the winner of the Mr. Motocross in 1974, that he's done it. All he has to do is coast around now and pick up the points. And this will make a particularly interesting situation now in the overall point score for the series. Along the back straight now for the last time in Heat 2, with 2 heats still to come. So it's still the best part of 45 or 50 minutes racing. Anything can happen. And around the left-hander goes number 9, Ray Vandenberg, and he's coming up now to pick up the checkered flag. There's flags all over the place. In fact, you'll see the ambulance flag, and then he'll pick up the checkered flag, and Vandenberg cruises the Suzuki in now for an extra 30 points to take heat number 2. Riders on the line for the Yamaha Gold Cup, first heat of the grand final round of the Castrol Mr. Motocross, and the leader of the series at the moment, young Craig Dack on bike number 2, and he's the man who leads the pack away on machine number 2 as they come to the first jump for Castrol up towards the left-hander. All of these riders have been pursuing the series in the first 4 rounds, and it's come down now to this crucial final round with Craig Dack leading by just 3 points from Stuart Bennett on the Honda. He's riding machine number 5, and Dackett is in the lead at the moment. He was the rider who cleaned them up here at Broadford at round number 1. 2 wins from 2 starts, and this young man from New South Wales on the Brian Collins Yamaha leads the field as they go down towards the middle of the course now for lap number 1 of this 20-minute plus 1 lap journey. There's Stuart Bennett, the man who's 2nd in the series on bike number 5, and the rider who is in 3rd place in the series, Glen Bell, is on bike number 1. Through the middle of the course, Craig Dack number 2. Glen Canberra is up into 2nd place. Full field of riders, around about 30 riders participating in this first heat of the grand final of the Yamaha Gold Cup. A real test of endurance skills, 20 minutes plus 1 lap of the Reg Hunt Park course. Camburus in second place. Number 22 it is in third place, and that's Ian Rowe. Working up through the field, you can see there number 1, Glen Bell, who was ranked number 1 in the Yamaha Gold Cup Series for this year. He's on the Frank Pons-tuned Yamaha, a very quick machine, and we'll be watching for Glen Bell to work his way through the field. Stuart Bennett looks as though he's now worked his way up through the field, getting up towards a major placing, and just as was the case for the junior riders, the Yamaha Gold Cup riders are receiving double points here at this grand final round of the Yamaha Gold Cup for 1983. 30 points for first place, 24 for second, 20 for third, and so on down the line to 10 points, should I say 2 points to 10th place. Through the Australian Motorcycle News stutter bumps, and a run up now towards the main straight, and the leader, number 2, Craig Dack. End of lap number 1, doing it very nicely. Second place, we've got number 19, Glen Camburus. Third place is number 22, Ian Rowe. As I mentioned, Craig Dack, the winner here of round 1. 2 wins from 2 starts, and that gave him 30 points to kick off the series. He had a dreadful round at the second round at Malala in South Australia. Had all sorts of bike trouble. Similar sort of problems at round 3 at Tivoli in Queensland, where he was riding particularly quickly, but unfortunately had machine trouble, which dropped him right out of the running. Then he fired back at round 4 and was the winner overall at round 4 at Raymond Terrace, just north of Newcastle. And he's in pretty devastating form out there at the moment on the YZ125 Yamaha, riding for Brian Collins' Yamaha in Sydney. On bike number 2, leading the field in Heat 1 of the Yamaha Gold Cup. There's the gap back to second. Glen Camburus in the yellow and black colours. Ian Rowe up into third place. And it looks like up into fourth place now we might have Glen Bell. And I'm just wondering where Stuart Bennett is on bike number 5, because he's the man who has the most to gain at the moment. 3 points behind the man who's leading the race in the series. And he has to elevate himself in the point standings if he's going to have any chance of winning the series in 83. There's Camburus on the left-hand side of screen, coming down the back straight. Craig Dack rejoining the race now on bike number 2 after having dropped out on the entrance to the main straight. Didn't see what the problem was, but he's now out of the top 10, which is very bad news for him, the rider who won the first 2 legs here at round 1 of the series, and at the moment who leads the series by just 3 points from the man on bike number 5. You can see him working away at the left-hand side of the bike. That's the clutch lever that's broken away, leaving the cable flapping in the breeze, and rounding him up on the outside is the man who now leads the event, number 1, Glen Bell. So a real tragedy for Craig Dack. The race coming up now towards the end with something like 17 minutes down out of their 20-minute plus 1 lap journey, and that'll really demoralise the man on bike number 2, Craig Dack. Very disappointing for him. This is second place we're watching at the moment on bike number 5. Young New South Welshman Stuart Bennett. Third place at the moment is number 6, Darryl Kelly. And Kelly on the 125 Kawasaki is a long way back at this point, with the blue flag now coming up. There's 1 lap to go. So the leader sweeping up the left-hander now at Castrol, just went through from left to right. Here he is, bike number 1. And there's the gap. And we'll just put the stopwatch on those riders, the gap being 3.7 seconds. Can Stuart Bennett close the gap? Well, he's got 3/4 of a lap to be able to do it. Bearing in mind that there's $400 for the victor at the end of this race meeting, and a total of $500 for outright prize money, and that's the gap. About 3.5 seconds, so Bennett is catching on the drop away into this positive camber right-hander, and now making the run up towards the first of the Swan Insurance loops. There's second place. Put the stopwatch on once again, and we'll get a gap between Glen Bell and Stuart Bennett. And it's now extending, in fact, to 4.6 seconds. So Glen Bell has got the message from his pit crew and has cracked the whip on the YZ125 Yamaha, and now pulls away a little bit from Stuart Bennett, who's not getting a very good run at the moment, I'm afraid. He didn't compete in the first round because he broke his foot a couple of weeks prior to round 1 of the Yamaha Gold Cup. And this weekend he's decided to forfeit his position in the Mr. Motocross starting grid so that he can concentrate all of his efforts on trying to win this Yamaha 125 Gold Cup. That's the scene as Glen comes down towards the Australian Motorcycle News stutter bumps now, gets the Yamaha through there very cleanly indeed, cracks the whip open on the 125 Yamaha, the checkered flag being prepared, and he'll take 30 points for a win in Heat 1. And the riders on the starting line now for the final heat of the Castrol Kid Motocross of 1983. The series leader at the moment on bike number 17, Robert Scott with 109 points. In second place overall, Robert Hooper on the 162 Kawasaki with 93. A full field of riders storms up to the top of the hill for the first time, and coming out of the gate very quickly was number 248, Wayne Morris, up to the Castrol jump. The track freshly re-watered, so it's pretty slippery out there at the moment. And around turn 1 and coming back down towards the Army Reserve triples, and it's still Wayne Morris on bike number 248 who has the lead. These riders battling it out for a YZ125K with only a few points separating them, and what a magnificent prize for the series. And the youngster on the 125 Kawasaki at the moment looking very good as he comes around the left-hander and on the Honda drop away, about 10 feet to the bottom, through the right-hander, up towards the top. Morris, only a couple of lengths separating him from, it looked as though it may have been number 69, Shane Williams on a 125 Yamaha. We'll check the top 10 for you as they come back around towards the bottom part of the course. But as we came to this round of the series, Wayne Morris was a fair way back in the point standings. In fact, he was back in 8th position, and Morris was nowhere to be seen in the top 10 at the end of the first heat. And so Wayne Morris trying to capitalise now on a pretty bad start to the grand final of the Castrol Kid Motocross. Each of these riders somewhere between 14 and 16 years of age and limited to a machine capacity of 125 cc's. And as we mentioned in the opening heat of the Castrol Kid Motocross here at this grand final, double points in effect for this weekend. Instead of 15 for first, it's 30. Instead of 12 for second, it's 24, and so on down the line to 10th place. Up onto the very greasy main straight comes Wayne Morris, bike number 248, and at the end of lap number 1 of this 6-lap race, Morris leads from number 69 in second place, and that is Shane Williams on the Kel Thomas Yamaha from Victoria. A Yamaha YZ125K at the end of this race for the top junior of the year. This is the Army Reserve triple jumps. Second obstacle after the main straight. They go up to the left-hander after Castrol, plunge down through the Army Reserve triples, then work their way back down to this right-hander, which is very greasy and very tricky. Behind the dam, Castrol TTS corner. Another right-hander, and they start to go right down into the middle of the course now, the lowest part of the track, and you can see them climbing back out once again. Morris gets over the front of the bike, and the front end really working very hard, and you can just see there the disc brake on the front of the Kawasaki, something that's peculiar just to that bike. Water-cooled 125 Kawasaki, very fast and very competitive. There's Arbard in second place. You can see the radiator wings just to the front of the tank on that machine. No shock absorbers as we know them on the back of the bike. It's a single shock absorber mono-shock suspension on this bike. 21-inch front wheel, 18-inch back wheel, around about 4 to 4 1/4 inches of rear wheel tread on the ground. And there's our leader on the back straight. The 248 Wayne Morris. Into Castrol now for the last time. This is the back straight, the right-hander onto the left. Now, one of the really tough parts of the course, through the stutter bumps. You can see the gap between first and second. Arbard's been giving him heaps towards the end, but it's not going to do him much good, because coming up now to the checkered flag is Wayne Morris on 248. And as the flag comes out, he picks up 30 points, but it won't do him any good in the overall, because Robert Scott, who will finish in third place, will take the overall win in Castrol's Kid Motocross of 1983. After an exciting heat of the second leg of Castrol's Kid Motocross, the winner on the Kawasaki, number 248, Wayne Morris. In second place, Yamaha rider Mark Arbard. And in third place, the new Castrol Kid Motocross champion of 1983, number 17, Robert Scott. 15 seconds to go now before the start of Heat 3 of the Castrol Mr. Motocross Grand Final 1983. The riders concentrating on the starting gate. This is an all-important heat because there's only 7 points between Gall and Vandenberg, and some of the riders were left on the line. The red flag has come out. There'll be a restart. Oh boy, there's been a shocking prang halfway along the main straight. Marty Moates was involved in that on bike number 10. That's terrible luck for him. And also involved number 2, Darryl Willoughby. So Willoughby and Moates out of the event. The St John's people quickly in attendance. Also involved was number 18, Stuart Bennett. Bennett, of course, one of the hot contenders in the 125 Gold Cup, although he's back on his bike and rolling away. But all of the interest at the moment centred on Darryl Willoughby, who's flat on his back in the middle of the main straight. The riders concentrating now on the starting gate for Heat 3, the restart of the grand final of the Mr Motocross. And the gate comes down cleanly this time, and coming out very rapidly was number 32, in fact, Adrian Haig from Geelong. The youngster from Geelong has flown ahead of all Australia's top motocross riders, but through on the inside comes number 9, Ray Vandenberg. Haig leading Vandenberg up into third place. It looks like it might be Jeff Leisk. Vandenberg into the lead on bike 9. Haig drops back into second. Stuart Bennett battling there with Jeff Leisk for third and fourth. So the Honda camp well represented in the high part of the field. Oh, and Vandenberg, the Suzuki, steps out nastily on him. Through the right-hander. Haig having a little bit of trouble matching the pace of the stars as they come out of the bottom part of the course. Leisk comes up to challenge on the outside on bike number 32. Leisk on bike number 3. Now he gets an opportunity to crack back once again, fights his way around the outside. So the order now, as the Honda drop-off is being approached by the whole field, sees Vandenberg in the lead, followed by Leisk in second, Haig in third place. Further back in fourth place, it's like Stuart Bennett. And Vaughan Style, the next rider, followed then by Stephen Gall. You can see Trevor Williams on bike number 6. Marty Moates on bike number 10, one of the riders involved in that frightful spill halfway along the main straight in the original start of heat number 3. The unfortunate news is that Darryl Willoughby, the Toshiba Yamaha dealer team member on bike number 2, has been taken away from the circuit, and he is in the hands of the St John's Ambulance people, and it's not looking too good for Darryl at the moment, which is very bad luck for the Toshiba team. Coming round now to about the 3/4 lap mark of this third heat, and Ray Vandenberg comes up towards the stutter bumps for Australian Motorcycle News and holds the lead from number 3, Jeff Leisk, in second place. Stephen Gall is going to have to do something about this flying young Victorian, because he looks as though he wants the Mr Motocross, and he can possibly do it. He's only 7 points behind Stephen Gall at the moment. Gall has 207 points after 2 heats in the grand final. Vandenberg has 200 points. Moates has 152. Leisk has 136. Williams has 126. And Jim Ellis has 95. Unfortunately, Ellis is out of heats 3 and 4. He has sprained his ankle very badly and won't be participating again this afternoon. So very bad luck for the American. Haig now doing battle with the reigning champion Stephen Gall. There's Leisk on bike number 3. This young fellow from Geelong is doing very well at the moment. A rider who concentrated early in his career on Western Centre Motocross in Victoria, came up through the mini bike and junior ranks, and has been working hard through from C to B grade, now into A grade, and doing battle with one of the top Australian motocross riders, Stephen Gall, but Gall gets the better of him on bike 1. So on towards the drop away. Gall now up into third place. Can he catch the flying Ray Vandenberg? He'd be giving him the best part of about 12 or 13 seconds at the moment, so it's going to be a pretty tough job. Coming up now to the first of the Swan Insurance loops. Round the left-hander, now back down again and into a right-hander, which has got an off-camber build-up of dirt on it. Very difficult to negotiate, as you can see, although the riders have now started to carve a bit of a groove into the circuit. Now the left-hander. A run down the back straight for Yamaha. Great idea of the suspension and the pounding that it takes on a modern motocross bike. Suzuki, like all of the major Japanese bikes now, sports a single shock absorber rear suspension. It's called a full floater system. It's a very large spring and gas charged and oil dampened unit just under the seat of the bike, right at the front of the swinging arm. The gas enables the shock absorber to stay cool over long periods of time, which it's doing at the moment, because quite obviously the bike handling superbly at the moment. Through the stutter bumps. And Stephen Gall is down. Stephen Gall, the reigning champion on bike number 1, is off the Yamaha. And this will mean that Ray Vandenberg, failing any dramas in this and the next heat, will be the Mr Motocross of 1983. Gall being attended to by the Motorcycle Racing Club of Victoria officials. No St John's people in the vicinity at the moment. the new third-place rider in this third heat of the explosive Mr. Motocross Series this weekend. Number 6, Trevor Williams for Team Kawasaki. Stephen Gall off the Yamaha and out of the event. So the order now sees Vandenberg leading Leisk, then Williams in third position. And at the end of their last lap, New South Welshman Born Style on Honda number 4 was in fourth placing. Well, it's a fairy tale story for Ray Vandenberg because this is only his second year in Mr. Motocross competition. We've already told you of some of the performances that he's put in so far in his motocross career. This would be the biggie if he can get this one under his belt to snatch the motocross title away from the man who's held it for so many years. Stephen Gall is no mean feat, and at the age of 19, if I was Ray Vandenberg, I'd be a pretty proud young man. He's hoping in 84 and 85 to have a ride in America. Doesn't have any real great desire to go to Europe, America where the dollars are. And all the heavies seem to be stationed there at the moment, so he wants to plunge himself right into the teeth of international competition. Whether he gets the opportunity or not remains to be seen, but if he can bag this Mr. Motocross thing, which he probably will do, he must surely be able to open a few eyes overseas. Round the left hand of Swan Insurance on the back straight. That's exactly the spot where Stephen Gall came undone. Gall, incidentally, is back on his bike, and Ray Vandenberg just coming up behind him at the moment. Gall most likely will pull off to the side of the circuit on bike number 1. Up onto the second jump, and Vandenberg goes past Stephen Gall, who has now stopped just short of the jump on the main straight. Leisk tucked right in behind. And Gall has decided to call it a race. He's called the Yamaha up. So the interest now centres on these two men here. 19 and 18 respectively, Vandenberg and Leisk. Trevor Williams is now the best part of half a lap down in third place, and a similar gap back to Born Style, who's a long way back. Great shot of Jeff Leisk as he works hard now to close that gap between himself and Vandenberg. And I tell you what, he's just about a chance to do it at the moment too. Getting a little bit closer all the time. It was the Suzuki which showed amazing horsepower in the first two heats, but it's now the Honda that is either showing great power or the rider is showing great determination. It's got to be one or both. Toshiba Yamaha dealer team mechanics just stationed off to the right-hand side of the circuit down there as we were looking at it, and I wonder what sort of signals they were flashing at either Vandenberg or Leisk. Bear in mind that Jeff Leisk was with the Toshiba Yamaha dealer team in season 82. He finished third in the Mr. Motocross last year, riding for the Toshiba team. Went back to his old team this year, Honda, the team that gave him 2 Australian junior titles. Now, as they come around this time, they will get the blue flag for 1 lap to go, and that'll leave them with 1 more heat of the Mr. Motocross to follow. And a day's racing which has been torrid, I think is the word. An amazing day's motorsport. So 1 lap to go now for Ray Vandenberg. Vandenberg has cracked the whip once again and opened up the gap back to second place. So Jeff Leisk, I think now, will have to be content with that second spot and a total of 24 points for that placing. And not only is Vandenberg looking down the barrel of the Mr. Motocross title, but also the round win, which will increase his prize money. $500 if he wins this round, and $4,000 if he takes out the series. There's the gap between first and second. Jeff Leisk has, I would suggest, thrown in the towel and decided that he can't do anything about the young Victorian. To go now for Ray Vandenberg, the man who cleaned them up here at round 1, fell into trouble in the second round at Malala in South Australia, had his worries at Tivoli with machine problems. Disqualified in one heat at Raymond Terrace. But 3 out of 3 so far for Jeff Leisk in the grand final at Broadford. The added advantage of about 10,000 screaming Victorian motocross fans urging him on. Ray Vandenberg now with an opportunity to come up to the checkered flag and take his 3rd win out of 3 starts in this grand final of the Mr. Motocross. Has a glance over his left shoulder. Over the first of the jumps, approach run now to the 2nd jump. He's going to bag it. Checkered flag comes out. 30 points to Ray Vandenberg. Jeff Leisk creeps over the finish line on bike number 3 for 2nd place. And a back wheel of the Honda is smashed to pieces. Jeffrey Leisk's bike has literally fallen to pieces. There it goes. You may have just seen it from left to right. And all of the spokes in the back of the Honda have absolutely destroyed themselves. 3rd place goes to number 6, Trevor Williams. There he goes. Well, can you believe it? Marty Moates smashed a wheel. Have a look at the wheel on the Honda. Clyde Wolfenden at the back of the bike, the Honda team manager, quickly in attendance. They'll change that wheel pretty rapidly. You'd think it was a Castrol 6-hour stop. The winner of the 3rd heat, and it's 3 wins from 3 starts to number 9, Ray Vandenberg from Victoria. 2nd place with a broken rear wheel, Jeff Leisk on Honda number 3. And 3rd place once again on bike number 6, Trevor Williams for Team Kawasaki. 10 seconds to go now before the start of the 2nd leg of the Yamaha 125cc Gold Cup. Just a handful of points separating these riders as they come to this grand final, and the gate drops, away they go. Craig Dack is one of the men to watch on bike number 2, so too number 5, Stuart Bennett. In fact, they're side by side as they go up to the end of the main straight. Round the left-hander for Castrol, and it is number 5, Stuart Bennett, who has the lead from number 2, Craig Dack. The leader at the moment in the series as they go to this final heat is Glen Bell. He only has 3 points clear of Stuart Bennett with 96 points. Bell has 99, incidentally. And 3rd placing is Craig Dack with 76. These are the riders to watch. They're on bikes 5, 2 and 1, and they're in the lead at the moment. One rider on machine number 27 biting the dust pretty early on in the event, and that was Pat Beninka. Pat Beninka, in fact, the younger brother of Joseph Beninka, who drives an Alfa Romeo, and some motor racing enthusiasts may have seen his exploits at Amaru Park in an Alfa Sud. As we go back to our leaders, number 5, Stuart Bennett in the lead at the moment from Glen Bell in 2nd place, and 3rd place Craig Dack. The numbers 5, 1 and 2. Honda leads Yamaha in 2nd and 3rd. 20 minutes plus 1 lap the journey for this race. So it's a pretty long and very tiring event for these riders. In fact, Stuart Bennett, one of the riders who did participate in the 4 heats of the Mr. Motocross as well, he was threatening that he wouldn't because he wanted to concentrate on this event. So bear in mind that Stuart's been out there for lap after lap after lap today. Bennett on bike number 5. Glen Bell right behind him. 3 points clear of him in the series at the moment. And what is going to happen in this one? Bear in mind, once again, double points in operation for the Gold Cup. 30 for 1st, 24 for 2nd, 20 for 3rd. And look at Craig Dack on the inside from 3rd to 1st. What a move. Great stuff from the youngster. And the man on the Brian Collins 125 Yamaha has outboxed a lot of them. And as they come around to end lap number 1, the order sees number 2, Craig Dack leading from number 5, Stuart Bennett, and number 1, Glen Bell drops back into 3rd place. Well, you wouldn't have predicted that in a pink fit because Craig Dack was floundering back there in 3rd place. I don't think that's a fair choice of words, but Craig was sitting back there in 3rd place and he just went screeching through on the inside and has taken over the lead at the 1.5 lap mark as they squeeze down now towards Castrol TDS. Craig Dack, the winner of the first round here at Broadford back in May, where he had 2 wins from 2 starts. He also was the winner at round 4 at Raymond Terrace, and he was a pretty lucky winner there too, because Stuart Bennett had chain trouble with the Honda, which put him out of the first heat and blew his point score to pieces. As they go down towards the Honda drop-off, Bennett now right behind Craig Dack, and if we could have choreographed this race, this is exactly what we would have wanted. Dack leading Bennett, leading Bell. And after a whole season of frantic 125 Gold Cup racing, these riders now come right down to the final race to decide the champion, just like the Mr. Motocross. through the right-hander. Very, very hard part of the course, and it's so hard to explain just how difficult that is. Now up to the left-hander. A little bit easier for the riders here. You can see that Craig Dack rests one finger on the front brake lever as he comes down towards the braking area. Not using the clutch, constant mesh gearbox, he doesn't have to. Stuart Bennett, the winner of rounds 2 and 3. Glen Bell finished second at round 2 and finished second at round 4. Up onto the main straight end of lap number 2. Now started to space out just a little bit. Just recapping on the first heat of the 125 Yamaha Gold Cup. The winner, of course, number 1, Glen Bell. Second was number 5, Stuart Bennett. Third on that occasion went to number 6, Darryl Kelly, because you'll remember that Craig Dack had trouble. And although Craig's not going to do anything about a round performance this weekend as far as points are concerned, he does have an opportunity to fight it out for the minor placing in the series. But the overall is going to be a battle between these two men, Bennett and Bell. Honda versus Yamaha, a classic Japanese factory motocross confrontation. And as I mentioned, just 3 points separating. Glen Bell, amazingly enough, started his career in May of 1981, so in just a little over 2 years, he's progressed from being a backyard motocrosser to leading contender in the Gold Cup, which is one of the most prestigious events on the calendar. It's an opportunity for the younger riders to show their prowess to the sponsors and the thousands that have gathered here this weekend. All of them looking forward to picking up deals for season 84 and possibly have a ride in the Mr. Motocross. Here comes Caldecott. He's in third place, challenging for second. Coming up now, blue flag out for Glen Bell. This is the scrap between second and third. We might just see the gaps here between Glen Bell and Stuart Bennett. We're coming right up now to the top of the main straight. Right, there's the leader of bike number 1. Here's the gap. That's second place, number 5, Stu Bennett. Right behind him, Andrew Caldecott. You can forget the rest of them. They're not in the hunt at the moment because these two riders here are battling it out for the minors, and it looks to me as though you can just about put down the binocs because Glen Bell is going to take out the Yamaha Gold Cup if he can just keep the Yamaha singing now in the last 3/4 of a lap. Bennett working very hard, but obviously a tired man at the end of a pretty heavy day's racing. You can just see the coil spring of the full floater single shock absorber rear suspension on the Suzuki as it came down through there very close to our vantage point. There's the leader. The Yamaha, a slightly different system. You can see the unit there, in fact, tucked in underneath the number plate. Yamaha, the first people to pioneer in the modern era of motorcycling anyway, monoshock bikes, back in about 1973 when they first unveiled their 250 in the World Motocross Championships and totally stunned everybody. Great shot of the workings of the Yamaha, a very slim gearbox, a functional sort of a machine, gnarly looking foot pegs on the left and right hand side of the frame to try and keep the rider's feet on the pegs. You imagine when they get wet and slushy that it's pretty hard to maintain control. Look at the front wheel, pounding its way over the rough stuff. This is second and third still, no change between those two riders. Caldecott makes a bit of a charge, a hard spot to do it to, and I thought he was going to nail this slower rider. Through the left-hander. Checkered flag now being prepared. Glen Bell will win the second leg of the Yamaha Gold Cup and in turn win the Gold Cup of 83. Great stuff from him. But what about the scrap for second and third? Here they come side by side, and Bennett just half a bike length ahead of Andrew Caldecott. Great stuff for the Yamaha Gold Cup conclusion of 1983. We're looking there at the man who may well take out the Mr. Motocross Series of 1983, Ray Vandenberg, on bike number 9. Alongside him, Jeff Leisk on 3, Stephen Gall further across to the left-hand side, and they get away cleanly for the final heat of the Mr. Motocross, and into the lead goes Trevor Williams for Kawasaki, and streaking up on the inside with a huge leap was Ray Vandenberg. How did he do it? But Moates through on the inside on bike number 10, and he's got him. Oh, unbelievable. Marty Moates has squeezed through on the inside on the Suzuki, so Moates leading from Vandenberg, but Vandenberg comes back once again. Williams up into third place, Gall into fourth, Adrian Haig into fifth, Jeff Leisk behind them, and all of the front runners have got through relatively cleanly. Moates. Vandenberg drops back to third, now fourth because Gall has gone underneath him. Vaughan Style up on the outside of Jeff Leisk, and Jeff Leisk not looking confident at all. Up to the top of the hill now for the first time in this last 20-minute plus one lap journey. Williams almost threw the Kawasaki away. The back wanted to pass the front, and squeezing through on the inside now is Ray Vandenberg. So we've got Suzuki's first and second. American rider Marty Moates in the lead. Australian rider Ray Vandenberg in second place. fourth. Haig, Bornstyle, Jeff Leisk, Andrew Caldecott from South Australia, Robert Twirewald of South Australia, and the field looking considerably thin now, and Williams is down. Almost stalled Stephen Gall's bike on the way. Unbelievable traffic jam as they go through the right-hander. Caldecott gets through, so does Twirewald. The leaders have already gone down the back straight, coming into the braking area, and Moates leading the final heat from Vandenberg. Round towards the Australian Motorcycle News starter bumps. The overall point, and here comes Vandenberg through on the inside. He squeezes the Suzuki up. Can he do it? On the inside, side by side as they come onto the main straight. They're absolutely flying. Moates comes back once again. They're side by side. Unbelievable. Vandenberg on the inside, Moates on the outside. What's going to happen? Moates shuts the gate on him. The young Victorian forced back into second place. On the Army Reserve triple jumps. Vandenberg goes for the outside. Moates covers all the territory to make sure that he can't get through. They might be riding the same machine, but that means nothing when it comes to racing on the circuit. Vandenberg on the outside drops a couple of lengths back now from Moates because he'd be getting absolutely pounded by dirt and mud. Anybody who's ever had the opportunity to ride a motocross or enduro bike and has copped any sand or gravel or grit in the face or in the chest or in the shin for that matter from a motocross bike, you'll realise just how hard it must be for Vandenberg to be sitting so close to the back of Moates. You can see the rocks and the dirt flying from the back of the big 500cc Suzuki as they climb back up to the top of the Swan Insurance Hill. Winner of the 1980 US Grand Prix in the lead at the moment, Marty Moates. On the second of the right-handers at the top of the hill. Moates has pulled away his face guard by the look of it and gulping in fresh air. Or is it just a tag blowing in the background? It might just be one of his tear-offs, in fact. Andrew Caldecott and Adrian Haig in trouble at the top of the course on bikes 20 and 32. Haig decides to go back to the pit area. The enormous horsepower of these 500cc motocross bikes being unleashed in the main straight. Gall comes back through on the inside. He wants second place and he gets it. And the crowd is rapt. There's still a few Yamaha fans here at the moment hoping to see Stephen Gall do better. Moates on bike 10, Gall on bike 1, Vandenberg on bike 9, first, second and third. See the plastic chest guard on the front of Ray Vandenberg. Flame-resistant nylon pants. An elasticized kidney belt. And Gall, after recovering from a spill in heat 3, sets off after the leader. And that is the leader, Marty Moates. It wasn't the mouthguard which was flapping. In fact, Marty generally wraps himself up in an ice and water doused, for want of a better word, turban, and he soaks it all up and puts it on prior to the event. It soaks up all the sweat and it keeps him cool. Number 4. And Marty Moates on bike 10, still being hotly pursued by Gall. And I tell you what, Gall's a real chance to win this heat. I've seen this style before. He gets crouched over the front of the bike and he puts everything he's got into it. He wants to prove to the big crowd here that he's not a spent force. Stephen Gall through the right hand and now within striking distance. 5 laps into the event, still plenty of time for Stephen Gall to do something about Marty Moates on bike number 10. He's all over the back of the Suzuki rider at the moment and with a real opportunity here to go into the lead and try and consolidate his point score. I don't think he's going to be able to top Ray Vandenberg, but he desperately wants to do something about this last heat. Right into the rooster tail now of the Suzuki. Moates. Gall on the inside, under brakes. Very hard spot to do it, and he stalls the Yamaha. Unbelievable luck for Stephen Gall, and it was such a difficult place to do it. Oh, Stephen Gall. What on earth was that for? It's a lot easier for me sitting here, of course, to say that it was a wasted effort, but Stephen really, on that occasion, possibly could have waited maybe another 100 yards down the back straight where there was more space to do it. Particularly difficult with the big capacity bikes to make sure that you don't run them too low in the revs. They plod along these things, but not that slowly. And the big 490 stalled. So Gall now around about 10 to 15 seconds. I'll try and get the watch on them. Behind Marty Moates. The gap, in fact, a little bit less than that. It's about 5.5 seconds. So a similar gap back to Ray Vandenberg for third place. Now can Stephen Gall narrow that gap down? A great scrap for the minors too, because Jeff Leisk and Trevor Williams are really having a ding-dong battle at the top of the main straight. There's Moates, the leader. We might watch them as they come up to the top of the course here and go back through the minor placings. This is Moates, the leader, on bike number 10. All of these riders now starting to feel the pressure of having done 80 minutes plus 1 lap. Plus 4 laps, in fact. So it's the best part of around about 90 minutes of racing, an hour and a half, and that's unheard of in world motocross. That was the gap between second and third, Gall and Vandenberg. So Ray very much content to stay in that position at the moment. There's Williams, and by gee, Trevor Williams is really moving along at the moment. He's broken right away from Jeff Leisk. It's a fairly calm and cool Marty Moates who approached this grand final round. And it was a surprisingly cool Ray Vandenberg who came to the grand final. I thought that at only 19 and looking down the gun barrel of the Mr. Motocross win, that Ray Vandenberg might have been a little bit perturbed with the pressure that was on his shoulders. But he stood down at the starting line and said, oh no, she'll be right. The bike's looking pretty good and I like the track. We've been doing some practice here. I think I can do well. And to say that he's doing well is an understatement. 3 wins from three starts, and in this 4th start it looks like he's going to pick up a 3rd placing. He's got about a quarter of a lap deficit now on Stephen Gall. But although he is a quarter of a lap down on Stephen Gall, he is the likely successor to the Mr. Motocross crown in 1983. $4,000 in prize money coming his way. $500 for the round win, because he's going to pick up the win here at Broadford as well. So a cool $4,500 for Ray Vandenberg at the end of a pretty tough day's work. To circulate now, and that's about all he's doing. He's not gassing up the Suzuki at all. We've just got a flash there of the green colours of Trevor Williams, who's back in 4th place. In fact, if Ray buttons on too much, he's going to have Trevor Williams breathing all over the back of him, and that won't help his point standing. So he'll have to be aware of the fact that Trevor's there. There he is, and there's our leader, number 10, Marty Moates. He's just coming up to the left-hander, about to make his run down the back straight. Brilliant motocross career for Marty Moates, and although it's now in its twilight section, he's still managing to do some marvellous things for the Australian motocrossing public. Been treated this year to a Mr. Motocross that's been a little special by comparison to years gone by, with the inclusion of the 2 American riders. The blue flag now comes out. There's 1 lap to go for Marty Moates. 1 lap before he takes out the final heat, and 1 lap before Ray Vandenberg is crowned Mr. Motocross of 1983. Moates' career has spanned some 12 years, and taking him to 23 countries around the world. He's ridden all types of machinery, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha. He also did a spell with Lossa, one of the Spanish factories, also the Swedish factory Husqvarna. Come to Australia a couple of times to do the Supercross events, and then come here this year to stay here for the entire motocross season. Been up and down the coast so many times that it must just about get thoroughly boring for the riders. And taking a look at his performances so far this year, Moates was the winner at Mallala in round 2. Picked up a win at the Newcastle Supercross midway through the season. Finished second at the King of the Cross in Western Australia. Second at Born Style, who took home a great lump of gold that weekend, $3,000 worth in fact. And we've already spoken of his performances so far in the Mr. Motocross. We're looking there at number 19. That's Robin Rhodes, one of the riders who came unstuck earlier in the day, Victorian rider who's been to the States. And they're looking to work his way into the heavies in Australian motocross and doing a very good job of it at the moment. And that's Stephen Gall, who's second at this point. So about a quarter of a lap to go now for Marty Moates. Stephen Gall will finish in second place in this final heat and will finish in second place in the series. And what a marvellous performance it's been from the Master. A bit of a shame that he fell in that third heat, but the odds are against you doing it 5 times. The checkered flag comes out. Marty Moates will be the winner of heat number 4 of Castrol's Mr. Motocross. The second place goes to number 1, Stephen Gall. We stand by now for third place, and there's going to be a big cheer for this one because Ray Vandenberg and one of the riders has come unstuck in the closing stages. Now Vandenberg coming through the stutter bumps now. And up towards the checkered flag. Here's Vandenberg. The crowd will erupt when they see him come across the line. He's being pumped by everybody around the course at the moment. The crew ecstatic. And number 9, Ray Vandenberg, picks up third place. Vandenberg acknowledges the crowd, the huge crowd here at Broadford, the newly crowned Mr. Motocross of 1983, and the first man to congratulate him, Stephen Gall, the reigning champion. Trevor Williams moves in on the Team Kawasaki machine and congratulates, and so too does Jeffrey Leisk, and that's a mark of the professionalism and the friendship of these top motocross riders. And behind him there, one of the organisers of this meeting this weekend, Mel Jones from the Motorcycle Racing Club of Victoria. So tremendous stuff from Ray Vandenberg, third place in the final heat and crowned the Mr. Motocross of 1983. The champion of the Mr. Motocross of 1983, Ray Vandenberg. A garland and a kiss from Robin and a cheque for $4,000 in outright prize money. And
another cheque for $1,000 from Castrol.
Thank you. So to the victor go the spoils, and Ray, you've done it this year. It's only your second year of Mr. Motocross, and it really is a marvellous achievement.
Thank you, yes. It's an ambition of mine to have won Mr. Motocross, and I can't believe it's happened yet. I just have to thank everyone who's helped me so much this year and put a lot of work into it for me and helped me out, getting me riding a little faster than I ever have. So I have to owe it to a lot of people that have been around me this year.